Welcome everyone to Stone Soup Poetry tonight. I'm your host, Chad Parento. We're having the feature tonight first. I ask that for those of you coming in, you don't unmute your mics for the duration. If you want to do it, I'll probably unmute everyone for the applause in the beginning, but then to avoid confusion, we'll keep everything muted. And if you want to do jazz fingers or silent clap to show Alexis that you approve and that you're listening and you love what you're hearing, definitely do that, and we'll unmute all for the applause at the end. I find out that works best. So our feature tonight is Alexis Ivy, who, after numerous obstacles, we're so glad to have her back. It was a pleasure to have her all the way back in June 2013, featuring her then released book, and which I believe the title of which was, let me see. Oh yes, let me see. Romance with Small Times Crooks, which was released by from Blaze Box Books, and we're excited to have her new release. More on that in a moment. For those of you who are just joining, who are just hearing of her for the first time, Alexis Ivy is a 2018 recipient of the Massachusetts Cultural Council Fellowship in Poetry. Her first collection, Romance with Small Times Crooks, was published in 2013. Her second collection, Taking the Homeless Census, won the Editor's Prize at Saturnala Books and was published in 2019. A Boston native, her poems have been displayed in City Hall and featured by Mass Poetry aboard the Red Line subway. Her work has also been featured in such places as Sugar House Review, Borderlands, Worcester Review, Lake Effect, Poet Lore, Sarnac Review, among other magazines and anthology. And with her day job, because sadly her poetry doesn't pay the bills, does anyone's? She works as an advocate for the homeless in Cambridge and teaches in the Poems Works community. I've been looking to have her back for a long time. I'm finally glad we were able to connect during the reading of the Spare Change anthology not so long ago, and we've been just playing tag, and then of course things happened with the pandemic, and unfortunately the live one-on-one show at the gallery couldn't be had, but I think this is a lot nicer. I think a lot more people are able to make this. That's always a plus. So for those of you who've never heard her before, you're in for a treat. So we're going to unmute all for just a glorious moment. So put your hands together. Let's say 30, 40 times for Miss Alexis Ivy.
Yay!
There we go.
Thank you.
I'm just going to mute everyone for a second, then I'll unmute you, Alexis, and the mic and the virtual podium are yours. Welcome.
Thank you. It's really great to be here. Thank you so much, Chad. It's really great to be back. And it's my first virtual reading, and it's the first time I'm actually reading in public my new book, Taking the Homeless Census. So it's really great to be here. I'm going to begin with the crown of sonnets in the beginning of the book called The A Street Shelter. I'm actually starting on sonnet number 8. I had to take it when I was a child, Pam said, and I nod a yes. I am like her, show up for her, promise I'll be there for all the homeless I can. Stow blankets, hand out donated quilts, give people sleeping out in the rain ponchos, feed them protein bars, ham and cheese melts I make before my shift. Nuts I chose for vegan Joe, he likes to be known. And I see her, Pam, drunk, can't leave the ground where she sprawls because today she's sick of life. I tell her the world I know with a walk-in center for women. My job sweaters me. I'm careful, refuse to bleed, used to bleed. I'm careful, refuse to bleed, used to bleed. I first see Sharon at the end of her intake, drunk. She isn't wearing her teeth like she was last week when we were hugging hello at an NA meeting. Share with our group the truth about ourselves. She knows my deep darks. Can't have her living here. This is the one place no one can tell on me. This was my safe place for me not to have my history. Maybe she'll leave. Maybe she'll want to clean up. Maybe she'll go to a program, get sober, have teeth again. Maybe I'll give her my business. I've got your number, she says, Alexis. I've got your number, she says, Alexis. I wasn't there when she took off. It was the morning shift, and she must be in bliss in her new one-bedroom. All the walls were pine. She would put up her heirloom curtains. Her kitchen drawer she's filled with silverware stolen from the lunchroom. She died doped up, so high her needle still in her vein. Kept wishing she were here. I would have Narcaned her not breathing. She was found on her so-new mattress, wrapped in her curtains. Hadn't gotten bedding yet. Housing, she finally had it, a headstone. In the God sense of things, a place of her own. In a God sense of things, a place of his own. A man asleep on the bedrock construction site. It's 10 below. He must sting, his moan mildewed with booze. He wants nothing from me. I didn't want to leave him, but I did. I wish he'd wanted a place to go. Outside is where I work, and out here people die. One kid shot, stole pills off the wrong guy. Chicken choked, heart fails, drunk falls downstairs. Tonight, I saved no one. I wish I had given him mittens, hand warmers, gloves to wear. I wanted to make the run, would have driven him to shelter so he'd be warmed, yes, would have cleaned the back seat of his sickness. Would have cleaned the back seat of his sickness, just so I could know the eye of one-eyed Sid. His eye, torn shut like that, tearless, how it got to be that way, and why it took so long for his left lid to wake, crusted shut each morning, his caged eye. He asks for socks. I ask him, snowflake or unpatterned. Warm, he says. A necktie I get him. His court date is the 9th. No thanks, he says to a face-saving button-down shirt from the clothing closet. Won't take a razor to shave. Flirts, subtle grin, puts his hand on mine. You have moonstones, the 2 nicest eyes I have ever known. The 2 nicest eyes I have ever known sit on a bench with Kit. I give them water. It's beer 3 so far, chaperone, 2 Eyes tells. Do they pretend that they ration their beers to please my worry? Kit's moved on from liquor to Listerine. Her coat is covered in dried bird shit. I've seen her beg, seen her cop drugs, seen her talk unslurred, neatly dressed, looking housed. The cop called us with a code 110, homeless drunk. Not a crime, not an anything. They just ran out of beer. I can recognize those fleeing detox cries, see their out-of-money eyes look to me. Their out-of-money eyes look to me in the train station. I offered to walk Jane to the shelter. I'm living at Lori's house. It looks like she's been here, parked on the floor, hasn't come to the shelter since her boyfriend died there. OD'd, couldn't get to his heart, medics cut off his shirt. I was there, another night I took work home with me. I can tell she's high, a pile of Kit Kat wrappers shine beside her. Her skull cap is her pillow, the hat she won't remove. I've been high, outside, waiting for a hymn. I know that story. Past their home, I came to poetry. I'm going to move on from reading from that crown. This is another sonnet because I obviously can't get over sonnets. It's called The Poem, an Ars Poetica. Poems come to me smelling of trash can fire and whiskey, the smell I am to launder off. I give each a bedroll. It's my life, full time. I live in this smell. I conjure this smell, sleep with this smell. I can't write another sonnet. These poems homier, like to camp with a blanket on public cement. Poems believe in no rules. Ruleless is cozier. And so the poems stay with me, where they're not held accountable for making my bed, being responsible. I thought I could write them asleep in my unmade bed. Every evening they strike my last match. Burnt, sulfury, needy. I need them to revise the fire in me. Taking the homeless census. The corner of the laundromat is occupied by the ex-con with an exhausting past. He uses missing socks as mittens, trades socks for cigarettes. Homeless. Sitting on a milk crate homeless. Facial hair unkempt homeless. Publicly collecting cans homeless. Boozing at the duck pond homeless. Asking for the time homeless. Teenagers homeless under bridges, living on benches or beside the heat vents in the library. Chronic homeless who find refuge in the holes of stairwells. The habitually homeless who have lived 4 episodes of homeless in the past 2 years. The girl who stocks the shelves at 7-Eleven tells me she lives on her friends' couches. The man I buy a muffin for at Dunkin' Donuts Sunday mornings goes south to be homeless in Rhode Island all winter. In public alleyway 118, 3 vets have built a room out of furniture left on the street by undergraduates. A woman curled up in a Macy's storefront leans on the 6 garbage bags of her life. On any given night in January at the Shattuck shelter, someone will clean up, show up, ask for a toothbrush, dryness, 5 packets of sugar, an outlet, sign their name on the sign-in so that they might be given a bed. As for the rest of us, uncounted. I've eaten spicy. I know which diners have homemade hot sauce, which have Frank's Red Hot, which serve Tabasco, dried ghost peppers that make me sweat. I pour red pepper flakes on anything Italian, so hot I'm tongue burned and my nose gets all runny. I've scared some people. I like the bottom of an omelet always burned. I like things burnt. Toast, too crispy, home fries overdone. I like what's hard to cut. I always have. The fallen cake that doesn't sit right. Coffee grounds that end up floating in my cup. Wilted greens. Anything out for too long. This next poem is in the form of a ghazal, which is an Arabic form. Home. I mean, shouldn't someone be back home at the end of the day? Where people go is home. Home should be a place to stay. The corner calls the street home. Home for cowboys is campfire. For weather, sky's home. Frost calls the place where, when you have to go there, they have to take you in. Home. For the circus, it's Big Top. For fruit, Rhine's home. Sweaters call the cedar trunk home. Tell myself, come home, Alexis. And so I head home. The pinup girl I want to be is a poster hanging on my closet, is all, oops, my top is falling off, holding a rose, pink, practically with her fingertips, petals babying her nose. Even I can smell that arousal as she embraces her right breast. Chin up, she's revving for a downtown night. Her other hand plays with the telephone cord, tempting with moves unmoved. Is she answering that call or hanging up? I can choose any misconception I want. She's on her back, one knee bent and the other crossed over, high heel dangling. She's pinned here, all satin, in a classy Broadway, poised in forever, forever. This next one's called Radical Surgery. Let me show you the scar waist deep down my chest, deep enough to deserve a get well card. I was just being born to be cut open and stitched the way a sparrow knots its beak in sandwich crust, my body turning blue like it was winter at the beginning of July. Still I dress for weather in any Sylvia Plath sky. The moon has nothing to be sad about. I rely on that moon, my courage as deep-wooded as a star's. If I point to my heart like my hand's a gun, would you love me? Map of Boston, 2013. From my fire escape, a blue balloon has strayed from its party, caught on a tree. It's out of breath, tired of the bullying wind. From up here, I can make out the other side of the playground, and a dandelion in the alley grows out of a crack. I didn't grow up well-mannered, no linen napkins on my lap, but paper plates on Center Street, one of childhood's main drags. I moved out of my folks' house where the one leaf in my salad was iceberg, learned to lose my mother's Boston accent, learned how dirty half-melted snow can get. I could show you certain corners of Mattapan, clotheslines keep high-rises from falling, fights break out, windows stay broken, hate crimes caked in paint on storefronts. Even I was dangerous once, buying late summer smack, overheating the car on Blue Hill Ave. These days it's murder on Boylston Street. It's pressure cookers tearing the marathon apart, blowing legs loose like bricks in the blizzard of '96. The Commonwealth is constantly in revision. Even I edit myself, take out every never, each always. I used to think explosions near the finish line meant victory. And this last poem is the last poem of the book. It's an elegy, and it's in the form of a villanelle. Autumn is the season of slow reside, shredding ivy green turned brown. Leaves absolve the earth before they die. Leaves well kept, blown, layering the sky, stepped on, so settled in sky sound. Autumn is the season of slow reside. Sun shows late for the fallen, shines stubborn, a street lamp in that polis of clouds. Leaves absolve the earth before they die. Leaves stripped and torn as they pine for frost, first snow, blood on the ground. Autumn is the season of slow reside. Leaf smoke catches in the eye, the kind of worldly pain all birches bear. How leaves absolve the earth. After they die, the sky will weather and rain less light. December will also die. How round autumn is, the season of slow reside. Leaves absolve the earth before they die. Thank you.
Give it up. We are unmuted. Come on, put your hands together 20, 30 more times.
Thank you.
Woo! Awesome.
Awesome. This girl
Really
is
awesome.
Fantastic.
So Alexis, what's your next project? This one took a while, but you must have another one in mind.
Yeah, no, I'm already 50 pages into my next project.
Oh my God.
What's the tentative title?
There is none yet. I mean, I called it flea market for a while, but it's definitely not flea market. It's about like belongings and my collections and trying to get to know myself through my collections. And that's really not what it's about at all, but that's like where it started.
Well, whatever the book title finally becomes, we'll definitely be sure to purchase it and have you back. I want to thank everyone for listening, and of course, thanking everyone for showing their love. In the beginning of the chat, which some of you may have missed because a couple people did come on just as the show was starting, I did put in a link to her current collection, which you just heard great sampling from, Taking the Homeless Census. And I believe I'm linking to a book review, but I'm also linking to what should be, what I'm hoping is the.
I can also add it too.
Yeah, that might help. Oh, here we go. Looks like we got, but she's gotten some amazing reviews from a bunch of people, so we're very excited about that. And and I have grabbed a copy of this, or if I haven't, I have to check most of my stuff is in boxes for a variety of reasons, but if I don't have it, I'll definitely be grabbing this as well. And I just found the link. After misplacing the link, I finally am posting it right now in the group chat. So if you want, one of the best ways you can support Alexis Ivy tonight, if you have not gotten a copy already, is to grab one now. But also, Alexis, if you have any Cash App,
yeah, I have Venmo. It's I think it's just Alexis Ivy Poet at Alexis Ivy or something almost like that. Let me check.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, you can.
I'll put it in.
You can type it in, and for those of you who have Venmo, definitely you can send a couple of bucks away. It worked really well with Eric Tate last week. Eric Tate was last week's feature. He's on the open mic, which we'll get to in just a moment. I hope those of you who came on for the feature do stay as much for as much of the open mic as you can, as I'm sure Alexis will as well. There are those of you who are regulars who I've already put in, such as Eric and Jane. You came in later to past my announcement, but I know you guys are going to be regulars, so I put you in. For the rest of you, if I haven't mentioned you just now, please put your name down and just write open mic in the chat, and I'll know who it's from. And because I'd like to include you in the open mic as well. Right now we have, I think, roughly 10 or 11 people, and there's potentially 3, 4, 6 more people who I'd see would want to be added, but I want to be presumptuous. So in the group chat, you can put yourself down, or you can wave.
How do you put yourself down?
Oh, Carol, I already got you. Come on. Carol's joining us by phone, as is Nancy Dotson. Those two I know about. For the rest of you, if you want to type in on the chat, or even do a hand emoji or wave emoji, I'll put you in. So again, thank you so much to Alexis Ivy. Buy her book, Taking the Homeless Census. And now is our time for the open mic, which I hope as many of you stay for as possible. Our first person on the open mic was the first person to raise his hand up for the when I said, please put yourself on the board. And I'm looking for him now. This is one of the pros and cons. We got a lot of people, but sometimes it's hard to find people and unmute them. But I just found you, Mr. John Wesick. And for those of you who haven't muted yourself already, I'm gonna try and look. But John Wesick, right now you have the open mic podium.
Yeah, thank you. It's called Refuge. If you don't fit in at the in-crowd circus and find no shelter on concrete streets of commerce, if patrolmen of conformity roused you from your bed of newspaper and all the bathroom doors are locked, if faces leer from under hellish neon lights as your nostrils sting and swell from diesel fumes, if the masses shove you aside to snatch at shiny nickels and hustlers' lies drown out all thought, then let these words be your battered spirit's refuge. Come inside and peel off that filthy uniform it never fit. After a shower, you'll find a courtyard's a good place for reflection. It contains an odd garden, mostly agave and cactus, but you can pick guavas and custard apples from the trees. The legs on the wooden bench by the well are uneven, so try not to tumble when watching hummingbirds probe California fuchsias with needle-like beaks. Stay as long as you like. There is no place else you need to be.
Thank you very much, Sean. And we're going to mute the group again and go to the next person on the open mic. And according to my list, I have him down as, let's see, last name, I see. I have him down as P. Well, first of all, let me mute everyone again. And now let me unmute Mr. P. Crawley. Are you there, sir? Mr. Crawley? Mr. P. Crawley, as you're identified on the list, are you there? We'll have to pass on him for the moment, but I'm not sure what's, oh, here we
He's
go.
there, I see him.
Oh, what's that?
I see him, he's got a thumbs up.
Oh,
He's up
okay.
there.
Okay, Mr. Crowley, can you hear me? Because I can't seem to hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear him.
Maybe we'll give you a second. We'll pass to you for now, and you can figure out what's going on with the mic. But I have you unmuted, and right now I can't seem to get you. But we can figure that out in just a moment. For now, we'll pass over you and go over to Joshua Corwin.
Hey, I think there was someone who was ahead of me though, but I could go now.
Okay.
I believe that there was just want to be egalitarian, you know, or whatnot.
We'll take care of that in a moment. We know who's next after you, but for now,
I could go regardless. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm just gonna read like a page of something that I'm just editing. Yeah. Oh, you man, you iconoclast of the infinite mirror. Oh, you man, you razor edge knife thrust into my skull, scuttling against the winding mirror cave of the locust monsoon. Heavens dying in vaporous nightfall. Quarterback in the oceanic abyss, an aching space diving off the swimming pool of life, the building, an empiric nightmare, wreaking mutilation, encumbered with crackles of turpentine fuel, odious nostalgia. Oh, you universal man, oh, you power-hanking entrapments of reason, and the real God shrieking at the bottom of the ocean, waiting, relishing your awakening movement, your long overdue euphoria, consequential hysteria, a silenced eureka departure. No stalling off the precipice of reason, your limbs, bullets, your flesh, bullets, your man, bombs, your humanity, bombs, distorted bullets, and becoming bombs, bullets, volcanic ash, dazzling, dreary, and domesticated by bullets, shattering infinite mirror of your castrating composure. Fall, fall, fall.
Huh?
We'll get Mr. Crowley up next, but first, someone who is ahead. He's actually joining us via his car. This guy's so dedicated, he'll listen to us on the road, but thankfully pull over for his open mic spot. And I want him to get home safely, so let us mute everyone again and unmute Mr. Eric Tate, who was last week's feature, not content to rest on his laurels. He's back again for another open mic spot. Take it away, Sir Eric. You might have to unmute yourself because there, whoop. There you go.
Okay. All right. Thank you, and thanks everybody for all the outpouring of support that I got on Facebook this week from my feature last week. It really means a lot to me. This one is called Liberty or Death. Anti-vaxxers in Arkansas envision government agents kicking in their front doors and forcing them to roll up their sleeves. Meanwhile, opponents of the mayoral mandate burn masks in Boise, Idaho, and Kentucky teens host COVID parties to spread the word. The heartland of the rebel cause is rural America. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you.
And let's go to our next person. Let's see if I think I have the name on which under which he is signed. Is oh, here we go. Okay. Before we get to Mr. Crowley for the moment of truth, let's go up to Mr. Dan Provost.
Can you hear me now?
You're on.
Can you hear me, Chad?
I can hear you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. This is from my latest book, Under the Influence of Nothingness. It's called Never Seen. These things, never seen, want to be touched, but are whisked away into a wind of emptiness, a spotless sense of road, frowned upon, while great forts house the terrible and the murky. Water flows down, so down, things never seen behind old wooden fences. Mothers' dresses held by clothespins on a warm October afternoon. Sun drifting fast, but cannot be witnessed by those who will not understand. These things never seen, thought about, felt, but never sighed and walked away with. A slit in the early evening, the tooth of an old man, dying after a lifetime of journeys. Thank you.
Thank you again
Thank you.
very much, Dan. Give me 1 second. I seem to have lost my mute commands. This will only take a second to figure out. There we go. So I'm unmuting Mr. Crowley, who, in a second, I should be able to unmute him. There we go. Mr. Crowley, are you able to, can I hear you now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, excellent.
Cool. All right. This is from my new book, Those Who Hold Up the Earth. This is a title poem, Those Who Hold Up the Earth. There are people who hold up the earth with raised, soil-drenched arms held high. In herniated discs, they are weary, their gaze diminished by the underground's thick, dark haze. Are they rickshaw puller, or did they pave the road he rides upon? Are they dishwasher, with the stink of sodden food permeating wrinkled hands? Sometimes, when the world grows more weighty, when teeth rip open the stomach of dreams, and the outside is dispossessed of any allure, the ground they hold forces them to hunch over, their backs nearly breaking. But somehow, they still manage to hold up the earth.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crowley. I'm glad we were able to get the radio difficulties resolved. Hope to see you next time. We're going to go to the next person I have listed on the open mic, and best as I can see right now, I know I went a little out of turn. We're going to Ms. Jane Spoken Word.
Hi, y'all, tonight. Thanks for having me, Chad. Thank you all for your words. It's always a pleasure. For my piece tonight, I'm going to do a piece that I started in the 60s, and I've been adding to it over the past couple of months. And it's called Mr. America. What's up, Mr. America? My kind still ain't up and died, and I'll be waving my freak flag high. Have you ever been truly experienced? Or are you still just passing time? Wasting time trying to make heaven your home? You ain't wasting time. You're killing time. Lost in the twilight zone, lost in the twilight dark zone, lost in sun unknown zone. The streets had that smell to them. I didn't want to be here from last time. Do you remember last time? This could be the last time. Running from the repo man, my thoughts he cannot have. I'm hiding from the soul stealers that beckon to me from shadows of mind, and time keeps on ticking. And time keeps on ticking into the past, or is it the future? Is this the plan of man to keep us in a state of confusion, or a murder of the mind to perpetrate the illusion? You ain't wasting time. You're killing time. Peace. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Jane. And let's move on to the next person on our open mic list, as far as I can ascertain. Here we go, Mr. Bill Lewis. Bill, are you ready?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Am I alive? Am I moving? I must say, Ivy, that my heart goes out to you enormously. Of all of the hundreds of homeless people that I have dealt with ever since Occupy Boston, I could not name more than 4 who actually got off the streets. But I can name 4 people who did get off the streets. They put their asses into it, and we supported them once they did. And though it's possible, there is hope. They are not, these are people. They can do things. So go for it, girl. You're taking the hard thing. So I am so impressed with what you're doing.
Thank you.
Ducks. If you walk like a duck and you quack like a duck, if water runs off your back when you, then you're probably a duck. Now you might be a swan in drag, or a frog taking voice lessons, or even a goose who's learned to quack, but you're probably a duck. Sure, you can change your garments, but you're still a duck. A federal agent disguised as a soldier in cameo is still a duck, or a fascist. I took the oath with my good friends the geese to support, to defend the Constitution, not the police. I heard the ducks. They all said those same words. But words are easy to say and easy to forget and give away. The ducks say they're geese. They're protecting us. They're serving us. Tonight's main menu is mace. May I offer you some here, right in your face? Ducks rule the roost. Ducks have the power. When ducks come marching in, you little geese, you'd better cower. The ducks are together. The ducks are united. The geese are all lost, unable to fight it. If you want to have freedom, if you want to have rights, it's best you give up your internal fights. Against geese united, the ducks have no chance. The ducks turn and run, and the geese all advance. So geese, come together. Don't trust all those ducks. If you cancel your own friends, you're going to get
Okay. I'm like, you can't make me laugh.
Thank you very much, Bill. Much appreciated. We're going now to, yes, it looks like we're going now to our phone listeners, the people who can't see all this wonderful video, but are able to join us just through phone calls. Again, a couple people have joined us late. If you're interested in being part of the open mic, please put yourself down. Just write down open mic. And again, for those of you who who are interested in donating to Alexis Ivy after her marvelous feature, which you can listen to via YouTube tomorrow morning, you can donate to her Venmo name, which is Alexis-Ivy-Poet. And those of you who are able to easily access the chat should be able to see that as well. And don't forget to buy her book on IndieBound. Again, it's Taking the Homeless Census. Maybe she'll do an encore before we all leave tonight. This has been a great open mic. And we just got one more person to come on. But before we do that, we're going to introduce, one of our phone people, Miss Nancy Dotson.
Epidemic, a sad day to be sick, and oh how I ache, the world dying around me. Why, Lord, kill me? I wish to live desperately each day in your creation, rejoicing gladness in every moment, not hating the day because of non-energetic sin. In quietness and loving confidence, I am mine.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
And now we're going to go to the next person on the open mic. Actually, it's our second person on who's by phone, and she is safe and home for the last few weeks of Stone Soup. She actually had been in recovery from an injury, but we were able to get her from her bed, and she was able to recite and even write a few poems from memory. It was always great to have that. It's great that we've been able to follow her throughout the recovery. Now she's safe at home and safe, hopefully, in her comfiest chair, reading and reciting her poems tonight. Let's welcome up Carol Weston.
Oh, hi. Well, for 15 years, I and Joanna Nealon and James Van Lowy and Nancy Dodson from time to time, we went to read at the prisons and to hear the poems of the prisoners, one of the most extraordinary experiences one could have in life. This poem is about the girl upstairs, her housekeeper. It's called The Housekeeper's Boyfriend. She pushed the mop and the floors shone, and her heart sang as she dreamed of one she cared for who cared for her, without which piece of meaning life is dust alone. He who cared for her felt too this piece of meaning without which life is dust alone, and he wanted to give her the world. He tried and tried. He couldn't get the world for her, and he had nothing to give. He wanted to kill himself, but that was not enough. To more profoundly die, he had to kill the piece of meaning without which life is dust alone. So he shot the one he cared for, who cared for him, because he could not give her the world.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Carol.
Good.
She recites poems from hospital beds and reminds the rest of us that we have to catch up. I am very glad to have you on tonight, Carol. We're getting a lot more people coming on. I think we might have to do an encore, Alexis, but we'll talk about that later. Any latecomers who want to read on the open mic, let me know. We've gotten one or two additions. We're going to bring up someone who just searched for us at random and was lucky enough to not only find our link on the website, but to also have it work. So he joined us on a call, and he's been coming in, and he's going to be a future feature with us. Let us welcome up Mr. Philip J. Curtis.
Hey, how y'all doing this evening?
Good to have you tonight.
Alexis, you inspired me. This is a piece that I wrote 9 years ago. So pulled it out of the archives. It's entitled Homeless. These are the words of my newfound friend. May the Lord be with me, Jesus Christ, amen. $9 in a tent no longer quickly spent, Skid Row. Makes me wonder how the richest country can have so many living in poverty. Questioning, are the homeless the responsibility of our community? Carts, plastic bags, a wheelchair is a luxury. Daily, the ugly that I did see. Lint in pockets, holes in clothes, the size of pennies, but ain't got any. Where somewhere and nowhere is the same place. A reality each and every day, hard to see. Rats as big as cats. The daily news is my toilet paper. Thousands walk through this area. Suicide, child deaths, plenty arrests. Could the next one be my last breath? 6:13 a.m., no job, but the day begins. Never say never to food in front of me, whatever it might be. Dumpster diving, my lone possibility. Generosity, 1 out of 20. You say you like my smile, but is it worth a quarter? I know scripture says, give us our daily bread, but if a man doesn't want to work, neither should he eat. But my job application always incomplete. No address when you're living on the street. A ticket for loitering. If I had money, I'd be eating. A warm place sleeping, not thinking about paying this fee. Catch a case taken to a place, the closest place to some call home, jail. As hard as it sounds, some people don't want to be found. Staggering statistics as time passes away, but something happened when crack hit the scene, the inner city. You know what I mean. I'm clean, but give me a smoke, drink in a corner block, unable to stop, because every day, everybody has a story to tell. How life turned upside down, inside out, overnight. Dysfunctional families, stories about vicious attacks, gunshot, another life stopped. Some dream of waking in their own place, shutting their own doors, small things that we take for granted. And even when there is sunshine, it's still raining for the challenges we face daily. The obstacles faced, wondering what could have been, this disease of mental isolation, where a fireplace is a place under a bridge, where a bad day is when the weather is too bad to pick up cans. I lost my name and identity. They called me Brooklyn or New York. Our prejudice disappeared because I was never supposed to end up here. The question often came to mind. What made some say that they wouldn't want to try again? Depression sets in when a bowl of rice stretched for a day or two. Where I've been. Remember the time that Highway 95 storage was my place of comfort, crying tears as I rest my head on my possessions, or from where I've come. How the taste of a grapefruit could bring forth tears. Store to store trying to stretch my funds. No better bargain for eating. Ramen noodles, 10 for $1. The best 10 cents spent. Hope to never eat them again. I look in the mirror and say, these are the words of my newfound friend. May the Lord be with me, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. The next person up on the open mic is someone I've been longing to get back here. He featured for. I actually met him as part of a little thing called the Cambridge Poetry Awards, where we both actually ended up winning. He then invited me to what was then called the Bridgewater Poetry Slam, which later became Poet Tribe at a host of quite a gaggle of locations over the years. He has since moved on from Brockton to go to Nantucket, and now he's since left Nantucket to form a new life way out west. And he is still doing poetry venues. He's still a host. He's still an author, and I find that very exciting and encouraging, especially for someone who's been doing it as long as I can. But I've been able to, but not quite as long as him. And this is the first time, I think, since he's featured at Stone Soup, I think when I first started hosting, and he had to stay over my poorly furnished Southie apartment, that we've had him back, and I'm very grateful for that. Let's welcome Len Germanara.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you. It's good to see you. Good to see Mark Goldfinger down in the box there. Haven't seen Mark in a long time. I'm just going to get right to it, but I have a deep affinity for Cambridge, and Build Out of the Blue, and it's good to be here. Thank you. This is called All My Pretty Poems. It's a persona piece, but I had a great deal of joy of putting myself in this person's head. It's called All My Pretty Poems. I've been mowing wild grasses with alliterations and iris contractions, hotter than August, slower than molasses. More important to me than you ever were. I'm clearing away evidence of you, filling in the vernal pools that were your eyes, tossing all into the dumpster of a new day. It's spring, and more than time. I'm surfing on a wave of lead and organic matter that's 1 part anticipation, 2 parts dread, and suppurating. Because you are an invasive species, I cut you out with a fervor, a zealot's straight razor, writing this in cursive, my ink, spittle, and blood. You are dogma scraped from my shoe. I'm so happy to be done with you. But no hard feelings. I wish you well. And here I am, a flagellant, inert of the pain, impervious to the voices in my head saying, take a moment, reassess the situation. My wounds will be cauterized. Tears will keep the area irrigated enough to let healing begin, I hope. You're still irritated. Good. I won't miss you because you never walked in front of my car. I won't remember you. I won't notice the millions of tiny scars that you left. I'm not that introspective. End of poem.
Very nice.
I like that. End of poem. I like that.
Very nice, Len. I hope we can get. I hope I can actually get to your open mic venue, which I believe is it still on Mondays, sir?
No, we've changed over to Tuesdays. We've got a show coming up this coming Tuesday with Dave Surratt. I'm sure some of you have run across Dave Surratt over the years. Just an added story to what Chad was saying before. We met at the Cambridge Poetry Awards, and I was a partner with Dave Surratt in Bridgewater in poetry that we were doing there. Dave was up for a Cambridge Poetry Award that Chad won. Now, Dave's a hockey player. And we're old jocks, and oh my God, I rode him on that for the longest time, man. It was like, yeah, you're good, but Chad Parento. and Dave was always threatening to punch my lights out. I don't know why, but anyway, thanks, and I hope to stop in again. I like I said, I miss y'all. Thanks.
Please send me notices, Len, and I'll let them know. And hopefully, I think you start on Western time. Like what time?
Yeah,
what time would it be Eastern?
This coming Tuesday would be 3 hours earlier, so we're starting at 6:30.
Wow.
Yeah, so you guys would be, that's 9:30 right there, right?
Oof. That's past my bedtime, but I will.
Oh, it's past my bedtime too. Past my bedtime
Isn't
too.
it great? Isn't it great? And thank you for all the history. There's I try to keep things moving along, but there's so much history. You just got to stop and mention it, especially with everything's going on here, everything quickly becoming history. One of the other places I used to see Len read a lot was the Cantab, which sadly has closed its doors. I got my own thoughts about that, but you could probably search the Cantab on Facebook and get a lot of people's eulogies. Another person who I used to hear a lot at the Cantab at Stone Soup was Mark Goldfinger. And Mark, we can't ignore the historical legend in the room, and I haven't been able to get you in contact via chat, but do you want to be added to the open mic, sir?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, I have one poem to read.
All right, well, let me, let's have you, before that, it's only appropriate that we introduce your partner in crime behind the Spare Change anthology. I had mentioned that Alexis, Ivy, and I both appeared in that, and Mark, of course, was the mastermind behind that, but someone who was also very much responsible for its work is now in the open mic now. She's put out numerous books in the last few years, and we're very, very excited to have her back on the open mic at a time. Let's welcome Lee Varon.
Thanks, Chad. It's great to hear Alexis and everybody. This is called Vigil with Hummingbirds. At night, their photos are projected on buildings. We hold our lit cell phones to the black sky and pray. Someone loved each, washed their bodies in dreams. They want you to remember their names, their faces before the addiction set in. They want you to know they will return to you, like hummingbirds fly through the missing pages of your life.
Thanks so much, Lee.
Thanks, Chad.
And up next, it is kind of a mini Spare Change reunion tonight. And it's great to have this person back who's not only been a Spare Change poet organizer / mastermind, he's also been a member of the Highway Poets and a whole bunch of other road poet themed readings. It gives me great pleasure to welcome up next, Mr. Mark Goldfinger.
Okay, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay. This is from my book, Heroines Harbor. It's called One of the Tough Guys, and it's dedicated to Bill Casey Case. Rest in peace. The forest all around us as we smoked the joint back in the way back, and Casey was yelling into the ether, Yahoo, Mountain Dew, because he was a mountain man, born into the wrong time. Too late, the birds sang. They knew he was out of time. Casey was a big man, muscled to the core, worked as a house painter when he worked, drank like thirsty ground, no matter what bar he was in. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't piss into the wind, but he could and did. If you stepped on his toes at the bar, he would put you through the window if there was one. Flagged from every bar with a window he was. There were other tales of Casey. I could tell you he messed with the devil drugs. Do I have to name them? We were in my car, his strong arm on the back of the seat, probing with the needle to find the elusive vein. The police parked down the street, and we all scattered like the wind. Casey was gone, and now he's really gone. Casey was older than me, wasn't afraid of anything, but when age catches up and the scars of the old life take their toll, who can blame him for deciding to opt out? Swollen with Hep C, with warrants to send him to Steel and Stone for 6 months in the heat of Florida, with a body that he could no longer control and a mind that knew the truth. No one can cast the stone unless you were in his soul to feel his pain. So he took it upon himself to decide his fate. And when the police came to take him away, Casey was already gone, and no one could bring him back unless God gave him another chance in a new body, in a new place, in a new time, raised up by new spirits. There it is, Casey. Thank you, Chad. I hope you give Alexis an encore because
we will definitely be giving her an encore. I just want to make sure everyone that wants to be on the open mic is on the open mic.
Okay.
And on that note, we do have one more entry. The more the merrier. We still have time. So let's welcome up next. She put herself down just a short time ago, Miss Shanna Hill.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm very thankful for Alexis Ivy as a writer and a friend and someone who helped me workshop this poem, which is a sestina. It's called Walkathon. I told her she had to pay. The rich lady on Bates Street in Cambridge had told her it was $1 a mile. She was mad from the start, but took the pledge for the hungry. She liked her garden, but probably never touched dirt. But I had convinced her. I told her it's a walkathon. On that 20-mile walk, I ate an apple. Didn't have to pay for it. When it got down to the core, I threw it in the dirt so it could biodegrade. I learned that word on the bridge we crossed. Saw a lady toss one. I wasn't even that hungry, but I had to walk another 5 miles. When I was on the 18th mile, I saw the cameraman, hammed it up like I couldn't walk, pretended I was faint and hungry, made my friends hold me up. They should pay me for this act. But I was just some kid from Cambridge who loved playing in the dirt with worms. I liked getting dirty. I'd never thought about how long 20 miles was. Some guy measured himself across the Mass Ave bridge, and that was some long walk to Boston. Never really thought about who paid for food. I don't remember being that hungry, except for the kind of food they wouldn't let me eat. I hungered for Cap'n Crunch and Fluffernutter. One time this boy made me eat dirt. I lifted my head, told myself, someday I'm gonna make you pay. I wonder if he walked all those miles too. Does he still walk that route to school in Cambridge? I went to that lady's house in Cambridge, told her I'd finished the walk for hunger. Not only that, but I'd finished the entire 20-mile walk. She scoffed at me like I was dirt. She was ruffled. I only pledged $1, as if she didn't know the miles and for every mile she must pay. I kicked the dirt of Cambridge on her walkway. 1 times 20 equals 20. It's $1 a mile. She paid me in crumpled ones. Won't go hungry.
Very, very nice. Thanks so much for sharing that, Shauna.
Thank you.
And up next, and thanks everyone in advance. Thanks everyone again for a great open mic. For those of you who are coming here for the first time, we're doing this every Wednesday night from 7 to 9 for the foreseeable future, especially in the midst of the pandemic. It looks like I might be moving. Not necessarily out of Massachusetts, but definitely in a different area. So I'm not sure if Stone Soup is going to continue quite the same way. But if it is, I'm going to I would like to even combine the idea of meeting at least once a month and keeping the online forums going, because I feel like there's so many positives to, of course, being able to be in the same room together, seeing people like James Van Lloyd perform, but there's also some very strong points in seeing the people I never get to see anymore in a forum like this. So I'm very thankful for that too. So as we move forward, stay tuned, join the Facebook group. Tell me let me know if you want to sign up for my newsletter, and we'll go from there. Up next, let us welcome up our regular columnist at oddballmagazine.com. Oddball's been publishing a lot of new work. We're especially looking for Black Lives Matter themed work, and we've been publishing a plethora of poems based on the current pandemic. A number of them published today. We're also looking for video collaboration, video kind of mixed media works. If you're willing to submit them, you'll see more of that in the coming weeks as well. That's oddballmagazine.com. This person reading has a poem column called It's All One Thing, which digs deep into his history, not just as a poet and a Stone Soup participant and a friend of such people as the late Bill Barnum, but also as a mime and activist. His work is every Thursday morning, featured at Thursday morning, featured at 11 a.m. promptly, without fail. So let us welcome up, if I can find him. I hope he wasn't, after all that, did I lose him? No, he is right here. Mr. James Van Lloyd, everybody.
Hello.
So I have here a poem, which is one of what Joanna Nealon called the lugubrious poems. It's called Downtown Outreach. All day, walking around deliberately, stepping into the paws of poverty, seeking out the most impoverished denizens of the empire, there is no poor quite so poor as the poor of a great, even greatest imperial power. Nothing is quite so very alone as standing in a doorway which goes nowhere for you, as all of them come and go, and the beggars are fighting for their places by just being there, and just about everywhere, this disparate desperation, struggling to maintain an edge on the margin. And there, those left with nothing except their personal space, who might and sometimes actually do say, this is an invasion of privacy, are yet mostly actually grateful, painfully all too open to your entrance and intrusion, your blockhead interrelation into the only thing they have left, themselves, who they are, where they are, and who they might yet be. And I'll sing a quick song. When whippoorwills call and evening is nigh, I hurry to my blue heaven. A turn to the right, a little white light will lead you to my blue heaven. You'll see a smiling face, a fireplace, a cozy room, a little nook that's nestled where the roses bloom. Just a Molly and me, and a little baby makes three. We're happy in our blue heaven. We're happy in our blue heaven.
That was great, James.
Thank you so much, James. And now, what could be better than a nice close to the open mic? Then an encore performance by our own Alexis Ivy. Let me mute everyone and unmute Alexis. And I'm sure she has something wonderful for this encore selection. So Alexis, the podium is once again yours.
All right, I'm gonna finish with a poem actually that I'd written about a client who recently passed away. It's called Outreach. It's another sonnet. Winter finds him on the train station floor, sleeping in the shelter blanket I gave him, beneath the alewife sign in Bedlam's lower weather. I bring him socks, toiletries, bring him a woolen hat. I show up. I always come here, kneel beside him, his shelter, his prayer, his street. My knees kiss the tiles to face him. Can he hear the worry in my voice? His eyes are worried blue. Doesn't he want to live just a little longer? Most of him seems mostly warm. Midnight, I'm in the station. It's perfectly dead. No passengers. He wakes to sleep and sleeps so I'll wake him. I'm his moonlight and sun, the stars I spare. My smoke's all smoked, lost or broken or shared.
We can't be that tired that we don't want to applaud. There we go. Thanks so much, Alexis.
Yeah.
And I want to thank Alexis for an amazing feature tonight. I want to thank all of you for being such great audience members and for being such good open mic participants or just being good listeners. I'm hoping that we have an announcement for our Stone Soup feature to close out July, and a solidification for Bridget Eileen for Stone Soup Poetry, in the hopes of promoting and educating us on the Boston Poetry Marathon. And we'll definitely have Melissa Castillo Planas to feature on the 12th. And since I have a lot of planning to do, it seems, in August, I want to get some more announcements out by the end of the week. So you'll be finding out a lot more. And for those of you who have expressed interest in being a feature, rest assured I will contact you soon. Prepare your your bios and your promo photos. And if you haven't gotten back to me yet, just let me know and we'll talk again. And I hope you all come back again next week, or as much as you can. This is a great night. It can be like this every week. All we need is you. And special appreciation for Alexis for finally making this work after so many false starts. I'm unmuting all so she can hear your applause, virtual jazz fingers or otherwise.
Thank you. Round of applause.
Round of applause. I'll be posting her information on the, and you should probably text it to me just in case I can't get to the chat afterwards, but I think I do have a record of it. But you should definitely access her Venmo if that's how you pay people now, or at the very least, buy her book, which will be linked on Facebook no later than tomorrow morning when I post the entirety of the Stone Soup show for tonight. And hopefully, I'll post it again when I post my Stone Soup Croutons poem, which is a compilation poem of everything overheard, misheard, implied on the open mic, put in stanza form by me on Friday mornings without fail, relatively. And I hope and if you're part of this open mic and you participated, I'll be tagging you for that. For now, keep on visiting the stonesouppoetry.blogspot.com website. Visit the Facebook group where I'll be posting information about Len Germanara's open mic in Sacramento, out of Sacramento, California on Tuesday.
It's not an open mic coming up. It's Dave Surratt, Elizabeth Bradfield, and Julia Rose Lewis. It's a salon type of reading.
Ah, very good. So it's a salon type reading with those people, and we'll definitely get some more information on that.
Yeah, I put it in the chat room.
Okay, excellent. I'll repost it on tomorrow morning.
Thanks.
So again, thank you all very much. With the news of the Cantab and just with everything else happening. I mean, with the Cantab, we just didn't lose a venue for a poetry reading. We lost a venue for a lot of great music. I used to have friends who, when they were alive, would sing without fail every week on the open mic in the Cantab. And as things continue on, I'm not even sure if Stone Soup will have a home. The gallery does seem like it'll stay open throughout the rest of the year due to some generous benefactors, but who knows? But at least we have this, we have you every week, and we have a living document of this on my YouTube channel, for which I'm forever grateful. And I hope to see each and every one of you another time, whether it's next week right away or it's somewhere down the line until we find out more news. So again, thank you all very much. Wave to the camera. Wave good night. For this, that's perfect for the still shot. And thanks again to Alexis. Buy her book, and we'll see you all next time.
Hey.
Take care. Or as they also say.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, all. See you next time.
The
Thanks
show's
again.
over.
Well done, good. This is great. You rock. Good job, Chad.